it is about 10 o'clock, which is our scheduled time. So, well, how's everybody doing?
Good.
All good?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is our last Zoom class. What do you think about that?
That'll be fun. Do nothing.
All right, the last one. So, good morning, Sid. How are you today? I think she's still signing on. Well, all right. Well, I've got some announcements, some things that you're gonna want to hear. So, shall we get going here?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Friday, I think some of you guys noticed the schedule. This Friday at 10 is our class graduation get together. Did you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I sent you a link. I sent you a link to the Zoom meeting. Did everybody get that for Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So it'll be just like you'll sign on just like this one. If you have someone that you want to invite, you can just forward that invitation to them. If they, we're not going to be doing anything really official. That, like I said, we're just going to have kind of the class get together. But you can just forward, like I said, that Zoom invitation, and they they'll have the code and everything so that they can get in the meeting. Does anybody have any questions about that?
What do we do in the event of severe weather?
During the Zoom meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's severe weather, you will always use caution and go wherever whoever's in charge of safety at your house. You'll do whatever it is that they say, or whatever your plan is wherever you're at. You'll always go do whatever that safe plans are that you've made. Okay. So yeah, we'll record the little graduation thing so you can watch it later if you want to do that. Okay. Yeah. So, but it'll just be our class and then whomever that you want to invite. Okay. I did send an invitation to Emily. And so, she said she wanted to come. Can you think of anybody else that you'd like for me to send an invitation to? Anybody? No? Well, you can think about it for a little bit and then get back to me on that if you think of somebody. I was thinking maybe Miss Ann or Miss Shelley. That might be kind of fun.
Yeah.
So, but you think about it, and if we can do that, I'll send them the invitation, and they might like to join in. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Well, I'll write them down and.
Yeah. Does that mean we're gonna get sent like a certificate to the mail?
I'm glad you're thinking about that. So here's what I understand that's going to happen. Okay, so during our little Zoom thing, whatever, and it's whatever we want it to be too, because it's just our class that's doing it. But what I thought I would do is read off your name and tell what course it is that you're graduating from, because some of you guys are restaurant cook and some of you guys are food service management. So depending on which program that you're completing, yeah. And then I might say the activities. So some of you guys, help with different things, or some of you guys are in MTHS, and so we can talk about that for a minute. I'm going to call on each one of you as I say your name, and if you want to share maybe your best memory, that might be kind of fun to be able to to talk about something you remember that was fun or funny, or something that you enjoyed during the class. What do you think? Can you guys be thinking about something like that? Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. I think
I was
that's
more talking about like the certificate, like just that we passed it.
I'm sorry, Thomas, tell me again.
Like the certificate saying like, oh, you have passed like this class.
Yeah, it'll be now what you'll get that in the mail. I guess I should have went on to say that. What we're doing on Friday is just kind of an unofficial graduation
Friday?
thing. But I have to post grades. Everything's due Friday. And I have to post grades by Wednesday the 13th, I think is that actual date. And so once everything is checked out and we make sure that you've met all of the graduating requirements, then you will be officially graduated. Does that make sense? And then
Yep.
sometime between the 13th and say like Memorial Day, you should be receiving your certificate in the mail. Okay. Because by the time they have to post those and then print up the certificates, and there has to be time to mail them. So I'm thinking probably 2 weeks. If you haven't received your certificate by say mid-June, you need to call us because something's gone amok with it. Okay. So we may, if we have your address wrong maybe or something, but if you don't get it, call us and we'll chase it down and figure out why you didn't get it. Okay. But if we get them back in the mail, what we usually do is just put them in your folder at school. And that way, whenever someone asks for it, we'll have it and we can give it to you. Okay. Some other things, I emailed you what you had in your portfolio in Mrs. Ferrante's room. Did you guys get that email from me? It's been a couple of weeks back. Okay, you should have gotten an email from, I made the copies on the copy machine and emailed them to you from there. So look back in your email, because if you had your portfolio in Mrs. Ferrante's room, I did do that. If you did not have your portfolio in Mrs. Ferrante's room, obviously I was not able to do that. And so if you want your portfolio, the hard copy of it, I'm going to be out at school next week and I'll text you the dates and the times. So if you want to come out and actually pick up your portfolio, if you're leaving us forever, we always like for you to have those. So if you want to do that, you can. Okay.
Okay.
Questions, comments, concerns about that? Anybody? No? Okay. So the other thing is, hopefully everybody's been participating in class and has all their work done. I have I think there's a few students that haven't turned in work thus far, and so that is a really unfortunate situation because, like I said, everything has to be turned in by Friday. So if you haven't turned things in or don't have things turned in, please let's get on that, because I have to give you a grade, and if you have goose eggs, that is not going to average in very well. Okay, so please get that stuff to me by Friday. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns about that? Anybody?
I can think of.
Okay. All right. I have some good news. Some of you guys have been asking me about the certification testing for year 1 culinary arts and year 2 culinary arts. And I just talked to Mrs. Ferrante just a few minutes ago, and they are allowing testing for you to receive those certifications, but you will have to come to school to do that. And so if you're interested in taking those, like I said, I'm going to be at school next week, and we can set a day and a time for you to come. And we're trying to, maintain social distance and all of those safety things. And so we'll just have a very limited number of people on campus, and you can come in and take your test in the lab with Mrs. Ferranti. Probably just you and her and maybe one or two other students, but we'll social distance you. You do need to be, right now we're opening that up to adult students or high school students with permission from their parents with a permission slip. And if you're a high school student and you're interested in that, if you'll just message me, message me, I'll forward that permission slip to you so the folks can sign off on that. And then we'll get your date set up. If you're coming back next year, then I wouldn't worry about it till next year, and you can just take the year one next year. And
I'll put it back in there.
so, what do you think? Does that, anybody have any questions about that? Okay, well, you can think about it. Like I said, if you want those certifications, we want you to have those, but you have to come to school to take those. So be thinking about it. You can message me on Remind. If you decide you want to take those, you can let me know, okay? Couple of job openings that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Job openings in Integris at Miami. Hi, Mike. And if you are looking for a job, Integris Miami is hiring. They need a cook. And actually, there's a couple of positions open up there. And, you know, those are really great jobs too, because you can, if you stay with them, they have insurance and benefits, and really worth doing. So think about that one. Also, Shangri-La is hiring. They're hiring every position. So if you can have transportation and can get yourself there, that would also be a great place to work. Both of those, they have applications online, and you can fill those out there and send them in. So I'd encourage you to do that. Okay.
Sorry,
Right.
I'm late.
Oh, it's good. I'm glad you're here, Mike. Good to see
I
you.
logged into the wrong one.
Oh, you probably logged into the graduation one, huh?
Probably.
Yeah, that's not till Friday. Okay, so we got a few birthdays coming up. Mr. Dax's birthday is on the 17th. So happy birthday to Dax coming up here. And Emily, our Emily Daniels from the morning class, her birthday is the 26th. And for those of you that joined us late, I did hear that she's going to join us for our graduation on Friday. So we'll all look forward to seeing her and the baby. I'm hoping she'll have the baby with her so we can see her. And then Cherish's birthday is on the 28th. So happy birthday to Cherish. And Stephanie White has a birthday on the 29th. So if you guys talk to any of those folks, then be sure and wish them a happy birthday. Okay? All right. Well, that is all the announcements I had. Anybody else got anything they want to talk about before we move on to the lesson?
Nope.
Nope, nothing? Are you sure? Hey, Mike, we made several announcements, so instead of repeating them, for those of you guys that joined us a little bit late, you might want to go back. I'll get this posted here pretty soon, and you can go back and catch up on those announcements, okay? And I noticed there was a couple of chat questions, and if you guys all stay on here when we get through, and so if you have some questions you want to ask me, or if you want to text me on Remind, we can discuss. Okay, is that good?
Oh, I just started working at Terra Miranda.
Yeah, how's it going?
They said I did pretty well for my first day.
Oh, I'm happy to hear it, Mike. Well, I hope that just works out great for you. So they'll be busy here pretty quick. There'll be all the people on the lake, and it'll be nuts.
Well, they mostly make hoagies and pizzas, so.
That's awesome. Well, good for you. I'm excited you got your job here. So, all right. Well, let me see if I can shrink this down a little bit. Oh, come on. All right. Just share my screen here. I think I had trouble with this last time, didn't I? There we go. All right, so who likes salsa? Oh man, I know. It's like the best, isn't it? Okay, so, well, you know, we're talking about today's Cinco de Mayo, by the way. A little fiesta today. Is anybody, this is Taco Tuesday. Is anybody having tacos today for lunch? Lunch or dinner? Yeah, we'll have to have a little celebration coming up, huh? So, well, if you think about it, who has a favorite kind of salsa? Anybody?
I prefer guacamole.
You like guacamole?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's
But
so
I
good.
put salsa in it.
And what, Abby?
I said, but I put salsa in it because I don't like whole tomatoes. So
Yeah,
I just put salsa in it.
there's a lot of people that do that. Yeah, it's pretty delicious, isn't
Emily's
it?
mom makes a really good salsa.
What's that, Mike?
Emily's mom makes a really good salsa with like green onions and garlic and tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
The best. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, but nothing can beat homemade salsa.
I know it. It's the best. And this is getting ready to be the best time of year for salsa too, because all the tomatoes are going to start ripening up when it gets just a little bit warmer and the gardens start going nuts. So yeah, this is the best time. I was in my pantry yesterday and I pulled out the last jar of last summer's salsa. So I have to give my tomato plants a good talking to today and tell them they better get busy because I have one jar left. Yeah, so I don't like to be without salsa. So we're going to be in a crisis around here if those tomato plants don't get busy. Okay, so well, would you say that maybe salsa is one of the world's favorite foods? Yeah, I would say, you know, think about the kind of things, what do you put salsa on? Because you don't just use salsa for Mexican food, do you? No, we put it on, like, who puts it on eggs in the morning? Do you guys put salsa on eggs sometimes?
No, don't do that.
No, I love it on eggs.
Times.
Sometimes, yeah. So, I mean, it's not just, it doesn't just
burritos.
go, I'm sorry, Mike, what?
It's good on burritos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's just good to eat, too. I like it with just chips and salsa for a snack, too. So it is, and when you think about just Mexican food in general, I would maybe venture to say that Mexican food is probably one of the favorite ethnic type foods that we have here, don't you think? Everybody kind of like, yeah, I think that's a pretty safe statement also. So salsa, you know, we usually think of like red tomato salsa. Can you think of some other kinds of salsa, some things that aren't necessarily tomato salsa?
The fruit salsa that has the burn to it.
Oh yeah, fruit salsa. So who knows what could we put in fruit salsa?
Mango.
Oh, mango. Okay. All right. Anybody else had fruit salsa another way?
This is papaya one, maybe?
Papaya. Uh-huh.
I've had just like strawberries, and you make the tortillas, and you like you put like cinnamon and sugar,
Oh.
like you make your own tortillas.
Uh-huh.
You put cinnamon and sugar on them.
Oh wow, that sounds like more like a dessert.
It's good though.
Oh, yum, yeah.
It's a shot last. That was good.
Who said what? Do what?
I made rice last with tacos.
Mendez, that's you, isn't it? Sorry, I don't have all my people up here. Tell me again what you said.
Yes, ma'am. It's rice with that and tacos.
You're cutting in and out. I'm sorry, I can't understand you. Well, anyway, we'll kind of move on then. So we do see. What about maybe like pineapple? Anybody ever had pineapple salsa before?
I have not.
That's some good stuff. So
There's also salsa verde.
yes, Yes, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second. So really, you know, salsa can be pretty much anything. Pretty much anything. One kind of the common denominator in salsa though is usually it has some kind of a pepper. Is that, what do you think? So it's usually a little bit spicy of some kind, do you think?
Mhm.
Okay. Some kind of chili. So salsas that are red in color, who knows what those are called? Anybody
So
know?
Waha.
Exactly. Good work, Tommy. Yeah, salsa rojo. That's right. And then what would green salsas be called?
Salsa verde.
Exactly. Excellent. Okay. So red salsas usually are red because of tomatoes or because of the chilies, right? Mm-hmm. And then
Mhm.
green salsa is usually made from tomatillos or perhaps whatever chili might be a green chili of some kind. And you know, do you guys always use fresh peppers to make your salsa with, or can you use canned?
I think you can use both.
Yes, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, you're exactly right. So yeah, you can use canned tomatoes. You can use canned peppers. Have you guys ever used canned tomatillos before?
Mm-mm.
No, I've always used the fresh, but you know you can use canned tomatillos. And I was trying to think. I looked this up, and a 13-ounce can is equal to about 3/4 of a pound of fresh tomatillos. So if you had to convert your recipe, you could probably figure that out. Okay. So, but chilies, when you think about it, chilies are the ingredient base for whether you're making fruit salsa or whether you're making some type of a either tomatillo or chili salsa. Okay. How many of you guys have realized or found that the longer, if you let your salsa sit for a little while, maybe it tastes better? What do you think? You think
You
it
have to
tastes
let
better after you make it a few days or the next day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. It kind of gives those flavors time to work together.
Mary,
Mhm.
mango.
Yep, I think so. I think so. Well, this
It's
is
even better when you make it with homemade chips.
oh, it's the best, isn't it? Yeah, I like to toast the chips in the oven, and yeah, that's the best. That's right. So, the only exception to that is going to be like Abby said, she likes to put salsa in her guacamole. Now, guacamole does not hang out very well, right? What happens to guacamole if it stays around very long?
It's just turn brown.
It turns brown, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
it doesn't hang out very well. So that would be probably the exception to that rule. Okay. So
Once you use a lot of acid.
yeah, you could put lime juice or something like that in it, and it would help it some, but still, you know, it probably, you know, more than overnight is going to be kind of a mess, isn't it? Yeah. So, who in here likes cilantro? Do you guys like cilantro?
No.
Okay, cilantro is kind of a funny thing. Who thinks, if you don't like cilantro, do you think it tastes like soap? A lot of people say that they think that cilantro tastes like soap.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You don't like it?
Mm-mm.
I don't think I've ever had cilantro.
You don't think you've had it? So cilantro, you'll see it in salsa a lot, but there are
Yeah.
people that don't care for it and they think it tastes like soap, and it's, I don't know what it is. We'll call it the soap gene, I guess. But some people,
It's like a taste bud.
yeah, they just don't think it tastes
Like-
good or it tastes like soap, and so
How
yeah,
right.
yeah,
the genetics comes down to that.
yeah. But if you don't,
It comes
if you
down to genetics.
genetics, yeah. So, but if you think that it doesn't taste good, you know, you can add other things like parsley. You can do that, which would give it kind of a fresh flavor, but still that nice color. Okay. Let's see. Here's some. This is kind of the the way, the anatomy of a chili. You know how it grows on the plant. There's the stem. We'll call this the shoulder. And we're going to kind of talk about we'll talk about some spices, and then we'll talk about how chilies are made, or how they have the heat that we have come to love about chilies. What do you think? Yeah. Okay. So who knows, has anybody ever eaten something that has allspice in it? You know that that spice, allspice? And it's not a conglomeration of a whole bunch of spices mixed together. It's actually a little pod that grows on the allspice tree. Who knew? So anyway, but there are, I think we fixed a few things. We made some meatballs one time that had some allspice in it, and it definitely has an interesting flavor. Sometimes we've made empanadas before that have allspice in it, and it kind of goes along with me. I think it goes like with cinnamon and raisins really well, but it has a really interesting flavor when you put it in things that are savory, and so something to think about. You guys know what basil is, right? We think of Italian food, we think of basil, don't we? But sometimes you'll see basil turn up in salsas. Bay leaf, sometimes when we're simmering things, we don't want to leave a whole bay leaf in something, but you might see it in there while we're simmering the tomatoes or simmering something, just to impart some flavor. And it's really good in stew, beans, and marinades. Another thing that you'll see, like we were just talking about, is cilantro. Every other country in the world, I think, calls cilantro coriander. Did you know that? So sometimes in cookbooks, you might see it called coriander. Cilantro is the leaf, actually, of the coriander plant. And you will also see those seeds that we do label as coriander seed. They don't taste anything alike, but you'll see those in different kinds of cooking. You'll see coriander a lot in cooking, like from the Middle East, in things like curry. You'll see that pretty frequently. What about cinnamon? Would you think about putting cinnamon in salsa? Anybody ever tried that?
No.
Might be good. Abby said she put it in her strawberry salsa. I bet that might be kind of tasty.
Yeah, I think it'd be good in like the mango one either.
Yeah, I think so. It would definitely have a place. And also clove. So I could see how that might be really nice with some of those fruity flavors. And can you have salsa without garlic? You think we need a lot of garlic?
I mean, if you don't want it with garlic, you don't have to.
I guess you could leave it out, huh? Yeah.
Good
No
with
doubt.
Yeah. Huh?
The people usually use some.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a pretty common ingredient, don't you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so here I've got this anatomy of the chili brought up here. Okay, so the seeds are not hot. I always thought the seeds were hot. Did you? Yeah.
Yes.
So the source of the heat in a chili is called capsaicin. Is that word you're familiar with, capsaicin? Yeah. So, and capsaicin is produced by glands located up at the top here. Okay, see where the capsaicin glands are? Right? Can you see? I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. See right there? See right up there? Kind of at the top of the chili there. Okay? And when you handle the chili, those little drops of capsaicins drip down all over those seeds and all over the inside of the chili. Okay? And that's why the end down here is the least hot, because up here is where that capsaicin gland is. Okay. All right. So, and capsaicin is a chemical compound. Okay. And it is, it stays with it. It doesn't really go away if you freeze something or cook it. It stays there. It's amazingly stable. Anybody ever gotten a hold of something that was too spicy? Yeah, too hot of salsa or too spicy of chili, something like that. Anybody ever done that? Yeah, Mike says he has.
Yeah, I had mouth melting chili. Like it was.
Woo. Curtis, have you done that before?
Yes. I can't quite remember what it was. Oh, I think it was the jambalaya we made.
It was pretty spicy, huh? Yeah, I think it kind of was. Jill, have you gotten a hold of something that was pretty spicy before?
Maybe the jambalaya we had.
Yeah, that was a little warm, wasn't it? Okay.
Yeah, a
So-
little bit.
So something that will help if you get a hold of something that's too hot is drink some milk or hold some milk in your mouth for a little bit, and it will kind of help extinguish that. Okay. Another thing that can help is if you have salsa that's really hot, you can put a little bit of olive oil in it, and that could dilute it or tone it down just a little bit. But there's some pretty hot chilies out there in there. Okay, so here's some guidelines whenever you're thinking about chilies, or if you're thinking about planting some in your garden, or you're gonna buy some chilies to make some salsa with. The wider the shoulder, see up here at the top, the wider the shoulder and the blunter the tip, the milder the chili is gonna be. Okay, so the wider the shoulder and the blunter the tip, the milder the chili is going to be. Smaller chilies, the smaller they are, usually the hotter they are. Anybody ever experienced that before? Okay, so color is not necessarily representative of heat. Okay, red chilies are just green chilies that have matured. If you watch them in your garden, the longer those stay on the plant, those green chilies, they'll turn red. Okay, and that's a mature chili. Okay, and if you dry them, if you take them off and let them dry, they start to turn kind of a brown color. Okay, you can make them a little less fiery if you soak them in salt water, warm salt water. Might help reduce some of that heat for a couple of hours. Okay, the most common chilies green chilies that we see are known as Anaheim chilies. Do you guys know what Anaheim chilies are? They're the pretty good size ones, about this big. They're kind of pointy on the end. Okay, they're pretty common. Okay, depending on where they're grown, there'll be different kinds of heat. Okay, when those chilies are dried, they're called pastilla chilies. Okay, and they're the ones that you see hanging up in the ristras. You know what I'm talking about? Like when you go to New Mexico, anybody ever seen those big bundles of chilies hanging up to dry? Have you ever seen that before? Jalapenos are probably the most common chilies, aren't they? And probably everybody's heard of a jalapeno, right? Yeah, and they're pretty hot. When jalapenos are smoked and dried, what are they called? Anybody know?
Ancho chilies?
You're on the right track, but that's not
Like,
I'm looking for. Anybody else?
trying to remember.
We see them in a can sometimes.
Adobo chili.
Well,
Green
they're in
chili.
Adobo?
adobo sauce usually.
Yeah.
You're so close, Tommy. Starts with a C. Chipotle. Yeah, oh, I love Chipotle because they're so smoky, but they still have that kind of heat to it. Yeah, yeah. So, but a little bit goes a long way. So when you're making salsa, you don't want to put the whole jar in there for sure.
Yeah.
Regret that, right? So, so the Serrano, you guys have probably heard of Serrano, right? So that's kind of like a jalapeno. A Serrano is probably one of the hottest chilies that you can just buy at the grocery store. And so, but it's pretty spicy, but you'll see it at the grocery store. The poblano pepper, usually see those stuffed in something called a what? See, it's stuffed with all kinds of yummy goodness, and it's usually breaded and fried.
Yeah, there's bottle cap things kind of like that. There's stuff with cheese.
So chili relleno, you guys like chili rellenos? You get those at the Mexican food place sometimes.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, they're so good. All right, so who knows about a habanero? Those are plenty hot. So those are probably one of the hottest peppers around here, although there may be like the scorpion chili and there's a couple of others maybe, but that
Ghost
habanero
pepper,
is up there
pepper.
pretty high on the Scoville scale, okay? And habaneros are also known as Scotch bonnet. It's the same, they're just called a different name. And so they're kind of small and round and orangey red in color. You know what I'm talking about? You guys have probably seen those before. So lots of varieties of peppers, but some really mild and some just burn the house down. They're so hot, right? Yeah. Okay. So so what we were talking about, those chilies are the base for most salsa, and usually we see garlic, cilantro, but really pretty much anything goes. Okay. And we talked about salsa rojo. What's that, guys?
Red sauce.
You got it. And what's salsa verde?
Green sauce.
Got it. Excellent. Okay, so here's some common herbs that we see that we put in salsa. I like to put cilantro and cumin, and what else do I put in mine? Garlic. Have put onion and tomato or something. What else I put in there? That's about it. Oh, and bell pepper. I put bell pepper in mine. So, but there's lots of different recipes. Whenever you look at Moodle this time, I put some different recipes on there. There's one, I put Miss Shelley's salsa, you know, the one that she serves when we have Mexican food at school. I put her recipe on there, so you guys will love seeing that. And she uses something called accent to kind of lump up the flavor in there. And so, and she uses lots of lime juice. And I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of salsa is that zip of lime, because it really kind of wakes up the flavor, doesn't it? Okay, there's some other flavors on there. There's a garden salsa called Mary Jane's salsa, and it's pretty tasty, and it's more of like the garden variety, and that's the one that I usually make and can anyway, because I always have lots of tomatoes and things like that to do. Okay, so but you can I think I put, we've gone over most of this slideshow now, but you guys can go back and look at it as you want. Okay. I'm going to stop share. There we go. And we're back. How about that? Okay. All right. So I put, there's a whole bunch of recipes on Moodle. There's one for loaded guacamole, which is really my favorite guacamole, and you guys can try it out and let me know what you think. There's a soup on there, and there's some reading on there, and you'll find out that soup is a pretty common dish Mexican food wise, and there's one called ablandingas. You guys know what that is? It's meatballs.
I was about to say I've heard of them, but
Yep, it's pretty good stuff. So anyway, but I put those recipes on there. Spanish rice. You guys like Spanish rice, don't you? Yeah, did we make tamales? We did that last year, didn't we? You guys remember? Okay. Yeah.
Yep, last year.
So, yeah. So I put my tamale recipe on there. So if you guys decide you want to make tamales, it will be a project, but you can do it. And it might be fun to make. And I put empanadas on there. Who knows what empanadas are? Curtis, you know what empanadas are?
Nope.
Okay. Well, they're
I've
kind
heard
of
of them.
like, I'm sorry,
well,
Thomas.
they're kind of like,
Kind of heard of them. They're like a stuffed, like a dough fudge. Usually, everything could be sweet or savory.
Right on. Yeah. Mike, what were you going to
like
say?
small burritos. Like small burritos that can be sweet or savory.
Yeah, they're just like a little fried pie, and you're right, they can be sweet or savory. And so I put this one is a savory empanada. It's a chicken empanada, chicken and chorizo. You guys know what chorizo is?
I
Kind
love
of like
chorizo.
a Mexican sausage.
You got it. Yeah. So
Very spicy and
and flan. You guys like flan? You know what flan is? Dessert. It's like
Yeah,
custard, kind of like a custard.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've had it.
Yeah. Well, I put all those recipes on there. So if you guys feel the need to cook some Mexican food on Cinco de Mayo, you'll have some recipes to work with. How about that? Okay. On Moodle, you've got 2 assignments on there. One is a reading assignment, and then you answer questions about the reading assignment. Okay, and then there's another one. There's 2 assignments on there. So you'll get on there and check that out. And as always, if you are unable, sometimes you're unable to upload through the link in Moodle. If you just need to share that with me from Google Docs or email it to me, however you can get it to me is fine with me. Okay. All right. You guys have any questions or anything you can think of now that we've kind of gone through this?
No.
Nothing? Okay. Nothing? Jill, you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Okay. Abby, anything you can think of? I guess not. Okay. Anthony, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. All right then. Well, I'm gonna stop recording here and